Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Framework of Tomorrow. I am your host, Keegan Goldfarb, and today is episode 23. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the major American conspiracies throughout history and what I think about them. But before I get into the episode today, I want to talk about my sponsor here, not only on the podcast, but also in the network I am in, rallynetwork.net. You can go check us out there. If you're pursuing a higher education or want insight on life as a nurse, go and check out Ashley Luann K at the Minnesota Nurse on Instagram. I know her personally, and she's really, really cool. And if you would go to her Instagram and check her out, give her a follow, and that helps her, and that helps me as well, and the network. Once again, that's at the Minnesota Nurse on Instagram. So today I am going to be talking about some major American conspiracies, and then a couple that I thought were pretty interesting that I had not heard about before. So today, all of the information that I found is on insider.com. If you are curious and want to know, hey, where do you get your sources from? That is where the sources are from today. Well, the source from today. So for the first American conspiracy that I want to talk about today is Area 51. Of course, you've probably heard of this. There's many Americans believe that Area 51 is home to a lot of government secrets that things are hiding, specifically aliens. People are like, I don't know if you remember I think it was last fall, there was a lot of memes going around that was like, raid Area 51, we're going to go find aliens. That was more of a joke, but people legitimately believed, and probably still believe today, that there are aliens in this Area 51 base. I believe it's in Nevada, I think it's in Nevada. Yes. So some believe that Area 51 is researching and experimenting on aliens and their spacecraft. More specifically, people think that they are studying a crash that happened near Roswell in 1947, Roswell, Mexico. Others theorize that the moon landing was staged here as well at Area 51. The government has said the facility is used to test experimental aircraft for the military. Kind of interesting, test experimental aircraft for the military. What I believe about this conspiracy theory, I think aliens might be stretching it, but Area 51 has been pretty secretive, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did say experimental aircraft technology for the military. So I guess just thinking about it, there could be some pretty crazy stuff that they're engineering there. So maybe I would say for this one, maybe the conspiracy theory isn't super far off. But I don't know if I would say aliens and they're breeding aliens. And I've heard a conspiracy theory, actually, that coronavirus was engineered here, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how much I believe in that one. But yeah, so that's Area 51. That's one of the major ones. The second one that people believe pretty heavily, I've heard this one a lot as well. I know there's actually documentaries on this one as well. The JFK assassination. It's not a conspiracy theory of, that he was assassinated. It's how he was assassinated. So on November 22nd in 1963, President John F. Kennedy was in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas, when he was struck by 2 bullets. He died at the age of 46 years old. I'm sure you all know that. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the assassination of the president, and 2 days later, Oswald was killed on live television, right? That's what we know about the JFK assassination. The Warren Commission was then created to investigate the incident and concluded that Oswald acted alone. However, some believe there are more to the story. There are theories that the CIA hired Oswald because of the president's reactions to communism and the Bay of Pigs invasion. Others believe the Mafia, Cuba, or the Soviet Union were involved in the assassination. When videos of the incident were released, people claimed that Oswald's location made it impossible for him to have killed the president. Most recently, however, a scientist at IMSG concluded that Oswald did assassinate JFK. But here's my thing about this, though. It says that a scientist concluded that Oswald did assassinate JFK. That could be correct, but did he act alone? Did he do it alone? Was there more involvement than just this guy? I think that's kind of what a lot of mainstream conspiracy theorists believe about this, but there's also more sides to it of like the mafia, the CIA hired him. But I guess it's a question of, did he do this completely alone or did he have help? So I guess that's my 2 cents about this conspiracy theory. The JFK assassination. That was another one. The third one is my personal favorite, and I actually believed this one really heavily for a while. I mean, not that I don't. I guess I don't. I believe it less now because of just doing more research into it. Bigfoot. Although there are Bigfoot sightings all over the U.S., this one's actually a specific Bigfoot story, but just in general, I kind of believed Bigfoot growing up, and maybe I have a little belief for it still. But yeah, all right. This one is specifically about in the U.S. in Washington State, because Washington State has the highest number of sightings. They have 2,032 sightings in that state, according to Newsweek. There are a number of theories around the mythical creature, and some believe it's a ferocious beast to be feared, and others think it's a harmless creature that just wants to be left alone. There are other theories that Bigfoot is related to humans since it walks on 2 legs, while others think it's an extraterrestrial being. I just said that wrong, but I've actually never heard that one before. I have heard that they're like, oh, it could be like just a de-evolved human, but an extraterrestrial being. I don't think I've ever heard that side of the Bigfoot story. The original 1958 footprints were a prank by a man named Ray Wallace near Bluff Creek in Northern California, according to the Smithsonian. His children revealed it was all a joke after his death in 2002. I guess my thing about this one and how that ends with his children revealing that, it's like, why wouldn't he reveal it himself when he was, like, why wouldn't his children just say something when he was either alive or him say it himself? So it's kind of like, why are they saying it now that he's dead? Like, why did it have to come out right after he died? I don't know. It's kind of weird, but Bigfoot, kind of spooky. I don't know if maybe it's not like Bigfoot specifically, like what we think of Bigfoot, but maybe it's something else. I don't know. Could just be a huge prank. That's more of a mythical side of the conspiracy theories, but here's another mythical side of the conspiracy theories. So you all know about the Loch Ness Monster, right? And you're like, Keegan, why are you talking about the Loch Ness Monster? The Loch Ness Monster was in Scotland. So you're like, why are you talking about this? We're talking about American conspiracies. Well, this kind of is an American conspiracy theory as well, because apparently in Flathead Lake, Montana, a man in 1889, Captain James C. Kerr, and his 100 passengers aboard a steamboat reported seeing a 30 to 40 long foot creature in Flathead Lake. As of July 2018, there have been 109 sightings of the foreign creature, according to NBC Montana. This is a quote. I remember saying, look, that's it. We're seeing it, one witness told NBC. I knew immediately because the descriptions are all the same. It was like 25 feet from what we could see and humps. It's kind of weirdly written, but other witnesses said the creature resembles the famous Loch Ness Monster with steel black eyes and fins. Oh, okay. So it wasn't specifically called originally when they first heard about or saw this thing that it was the Loch Ness Monster, but now I guess that's what people are saying. So it could be something else. It could just be where it was in Montana. It could be like a massive catfish. Have you ever seen those things? They're pretty crazy. I don't know if they get that big, but I don't know. It could be something else. Maybe a sturgeon. I guess sturgeons don't really. Yeah, they don't really do that. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of this one. I'm not really sure what this could be. I wouldn't doubt if it was some crazy. I don't know about Loch Ness Monster, but my view on things in the water is that considering the fact that we know more about space than we do like the ocean. I guess this isn't the ocean, but we know more about space than we do what's in our oceans. I think it's completely plausible that there could be some weird, massive creature down there. Like I said, this is a lake. This is freshwater lake, so I don't know about that. Specifically, not this case, but for if this was in like the ocean, I would be a little more enticed to believe it. But it's not. It isn't. All right, so moving on. This one is the chamber behind Mount Rushmore. So I'm sure many of you have seen Nicolas Cage's National Treasure. I think it was the second movie where they go, or was it the first one? I don't remember. The second movie where they go to Mount Rushmore and there's behind Lincoln. Wait, was it behind Lincoln? It was behind Lincoln. That there's a secret chamber, because there is actually a secret chamber. So let me just read this for you. So most people know that Mount Rushmore, as one of the most recognizable landmarks in the U.S., with the faces of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt carved into it. But many people do not know that there is a hidden chamber behind Lincoln's head. The sculptor Gutzon Borglum created an 18-foot door behind the landmark that leads to an open room that is 74 feet long and 35 feet high. Borglum intended to place America's prized possessions in this room, and it was supposed to be called the Hall of Records. While the room does not contain important historical documents like the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, it is now sealed off from the public, leading many to create theories that some believe the government is hiding something incredibly secretive in there, like proof of extraterrestrial beings, and others believe that there are hidden treasures in the room, like it was in National Treasure as well. I don't know why these theories always go straight to extraterrestrial beings. I don't know why it always goes to that. Like, oh my gosh, they're hiding extraterrestrial beings behind Lincoln's head. I think that's a little extreme. However, I do think there could be something in there. There could be something worth value. I'm not saying we should go and break into the head of Lincoln on Mount Rushmore, but I think there's something. There's got to be something in there. There's no way they left it completely blank in there, right? I don't know. Maybe there's like just their security panel in there. Who knows? But I think that's. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think there's extraterrestrial beings, but the fact that there's a door, I think there could be some pretty crazy conspiracy theories that come out of that. I guess that is one. But I believe it. There's got to be something in there. There's no way there's not. So that is the chamber behind Mount Rushmore. This next one here hits a little close to home because I have heard this before. I've had a personal experience with this next one, and so has the other one of the other shows in the network, BRCM Daily. He's also experienced this. Mike Shermack, the host of BRCM Daily, he actually has a full episode on this. It is, of course, called The Hum. I can't remember what he named his episode, but it was pretty recently. So you should go check that out. Go and check out BRCM Daily. But he talked about this, and I have heard this, and he has heard this. So it's called The Hum. So for years, cities across Minnesota have reported hearing a bizarre humming sound that seems to be coming from the sky. In 2011, for example, many people in Alexandria, Minnesota, caught the alarming sounds on camera, bringing attention to the phenomenon and sparking conspiracies. In 2018, the theories were reignited with another higher-pitched sound that was heard in Minneapolis. Some simply blame it on airplanes, while others think the sounds are far more sinister. They believe that sounds are from extraterrestrial beings or secretive military training. Like I said, I don't get why it always goes to extraterrestrial beings. But okay, what I think it is, and if you want to go listen to the episode from Mike Shermack, BRCM Daily, go and check that out. But one of the things he talked about, which is what he thinks as well, and what I think too, is apparently it can be explained by the pipelines underground. No one knows what this hum is coming from, but how it's being transmitted, I guess where you can hear it, is from the underground pipelines, something is going through there. Although, I don't know. There's so many different things about it because Apparently, when Mike heard it, it was coming from this building, and I don't know. It's like sometimes it can surface from. You'll have to go listen to the episode, but I seriously believe this one is real, and so does Mike Shermack from BRCM Daily, and I'm sure there's a couple other people in Minnesota that can have heard this. I didn't realize this was a specifically Minnesotan thing. I thought it was all over the country, but I guess I was wrong. Maybe this is like a Minnesota thing. Maybe that's why I've heard it, because I'm a Minnesotan. Yes, so that was one of the last major conspiracy theories. I guess the last one is pretty major, but it's a little more saturated. Like, a lot of people talk about this one, and a lot of people don't believe it either. This is kind of controversial one. So the 9/11 conspiracy theory. I had to cover this. I don't have a whole lot to say when it comes about this conspiracy theory, because a lot of people believe it was an inside job, that 9/11 was an inside job. I just wanted to acknowledge it because I don't completely believe it was an inside job. Some people believe President Bush was in on it and like it was all planned. But I mean, I believe it was planned, just not by, Americans. I'm not completely sure. One aspect of this, though, that I do believe, like 100%, is that it wasn't just the planes that took it down, that took the towers down. Because when they hit the Trade Center, right? But normally, what you would think, considering on where it hit like what? I can't remember. It was pretty high up in it. But why would the whole entire thing collapse like immediately? Because those things had to have had a pretty solid foundation on them. So one of the conspiracy theories is a more tame conspiracy theory when it comes to 9/11, but that they had somehow gotten underneath the Trade Center and put bombs inside of the garages that were underneath, the parking garages, because like the whole entire parking garages after the building had fallen and stuff were completely bottomed out. Like, in the reason, like, I don't know, you just think about it, you've seen the videos, why would it just drop? Like, that tall of a building just collapse on itself when the plane didn't even hit even anywhere close to the base of the place. Like, I'd maybe believe it if it hit like the base of the place, but it didn't. It hit pretty high up. So why would it just collapse in on itself? You'd think, oh, it would fall over, which would have been, I feel like, even more catastrophic. But like, why would it just bottom out like that? I don't know. I'm not completely sure why that would happen, but all I know is that there are some pretty crazy stuff out there that kind of shows, and there's models too that would be like, they've ran models on it, and every time the model comes, like, it doesn't fall like that. So it's like, what? Like, there had to have been something that, like, another aspect of it that was just missed on that day. And yeah, so that's what I think about that. What do conspiracies have for the future? Personally, I think conspiracies are super fun to think about, and I love discussing these with friends. And while many don't completely hold their ground on a lot of the accusations that they accuse for, I think they're important to create the conversation and expose some nasty situations, such as the Jeffrey Epstein case. That's a pretty crazy conspiracy. Epstein did not kill himself. This is proven. I'm just kidding. But that's another conspiracy theory that I didn't really talk about. But I'm sure you've heard of if you've never heard of the Epstein did not kill himself conspiracy theory, go look it up and then go watch the documentary on Epstein. And I promise you will believe that he did not kill himself, and there was way more behind that, because it's like, wait a second, what? You should go watch the Epstein documentary. But before you do that, go check out the conspiracy theory behind it, that he didn't kill himself, because you know, if you've heard about it, that they said that he killed himself, but he was on suicide watch. Kind of spooky. I don't know about that. Yeah, go check that out. And then he claimed he had dirt on the Clintons. He had dirt on Trump and a couple other people. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. You should go look that up. There's probably like a video explaining that. on what happens, and then go watch the documentaries, and you're going to believe. You will believe in the theory. Anyway, so at the end of my episodes, I always talk about a random history fact of the day. So today, my random history fact of the day is this. So in the Middle Ages, animals could be put on trial and were very commonly sentenced to death. So imagine you're in medieval times, right? You're a knight, a knight, a guard or something, and they're like, quick, help! This donkey just kicked someone. We should put it on trial. And everyone's like, yes, let's put this donkey on trial. So you bring it to court, and you put this donkey on trial, and there's somebody there. I don't know if there was somebody actually there, like, defending the donkey. You can't kill the donkey. He's innocent. You have no proof. I don't know. I'm talking like that. But it's just so funny to me that they could put animals on trial and were very commonly sentenced to death. I wonder why they were commonly sentenced to death. It's almost like they can't defend themselves. The judge one day, he's like, listen, we don't have like any proof that this donkey did this. Maybe not donkey. We don't have any proof that this chicken did this, but I'm pretty hungry, so let's kill him and let's cook him up, and I want some chicken for dinner. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that was the random history fact of this episode. Random history fact of the day. I just recently have all my episodes up on YouTube, so you should go to YouTube and subscribe. That way you can comment a lot easier on my podcast episodes, and you can go on there and comment any comments you had on this episode or any of my previous episodes, and I will try to respond to you there, because that will be a pretty easy way to do that. Otherwise, you can go check me out on Instagram at The Framework of Tomorrow, or email me thoughts and questions, at theframeworkoftomorrow@gmail.com. Make sure, I say this every episode, make sure to go to iTunes, rate me 5 stars, download all of my episodes, because that would be fantastic, and my stats would go nuts, and I'd love you forever. Tell me in your rating that you want me to shout you out in my episode, and I will do that. I would love to do that, because you are giving me 5 stars, and I would love that. Even if you give me 1 star and you want me to shout you out, I would love that. It gets me traction on iTunes, and that's amazing. I love that. Make sure to check out my episodes every time they drop on Monday and Wednesday at 5 a.m. Have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your week, and make sure to tune in on Monday for another amazing episode of The Framework of Tomorrow.